good. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Megan, and today we're going to learn something new. We're going to learn how to make a copycat Aunt Anne's pretzel recipe. They're going to be soft and chewy, and they're going to be wonderful and warm. I love making this kind of thing when it is getting cold outside. We are finally getting some fall temps here in Kentucky, so I'm excited about that. The first thing we need to do is we need to warm up some milk, and I will leave a link to the recipe I use in the description box. Well, Reagan will leave it. First thing we need to do is warm up some milk. My goats are out of milk right now, so just bought some milk from the store. You are so nosy. So we don't want our milk too hot. So we're looking for about, comfortable sticking your finger in it. If it's too hot, it'll kill our yeast. Let's put this in the microwave for about a minute, and then we'll see where it's at. More milk. It's probably a touch warm, but I think it'll be okay. So next, we need 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. 1, 2. And now we have to let that sit for about 10 minutes. At the end of towards the end of the 10 minutes, I'm going to start melting some butter, because we'll add some melted butter and some brown sugar in this, and then we'll start getting the rest of it together. There's our yeast and milk. We're going to put that in our KitchenAid. Take this off for a second. We got melted butter, brown sugar, and I've got my salt already mixed in here because we're going to add about a cup of flour at a time. When I'm baking, I love to be able to pre-measure my stuff out into a ton of containers. So I use a lot of measuring containers. It makes it easier for me because I'm the world's worst. If I need 4 cups, I will start doing it and lose track of how many cups I have. So with this, if I need to remeasure it, with having it measured into other stuff, if I need to restart it, I can. And I'm also not in the stress of trying to do it all at one time. Turn it off. A little more. Whoop. I'm going to let the mixer do the hard work for me, and this needs to knead for about 10 minutes. I am going to stop it here in a second and scrape it really good and then let it knead for 10 minutes. I said I was going to let this do the hard work for me. Not today. Sometimes my KitchenAid gets a little testy depending on how my dough texture is. I run into the same thing when I make my sourdough bread, and part of my sourdough bread issue is because it is so big, or so much volume. So we're going to take this out, and I'm just going to knead it by hand, which is fine. It's nice. Kind of a stress reliever for me when I get to play with dough. Bo is straight up underneath my feet, licking the flour that's falling off the cabinet. Okay. This needs to rise for about an hour. So, we're going to spray our pan. We're going to cover it with plastic wrap. And I learned my lesson before on this. You need to grease the bottom of your wrap, because if you don't, this dough will stick to it And like when you try to get it off, it's a mess. Learn my lesson. So this is gonna sit for an hour. Now, the issue I have in my house with dough a lot of times is we play freeze out. It is cold in my house typically. It's a little chilly in here today. I like it. The kids don't mind it. It's fine. So what I do to give my dough the warmth it needs is I use a heating pad. If I'm setting something overnight, I do a super low heat, like a 1 or a 2. And then if I'm doing something like this that needs an hour, I usually only do like a 3. My sourdough, if I'm doing it during the day where I can monitor it and bake it sooner, like bake it if I notice it's rising quickly, because sometimes it does, I'll just put it on like a 5, and because I'm there to watch it. Overnight, I go as low as possible, basically. So I'm gonna clean up where I'm at right now and then put this on the heating pad. And now we wait. So it's been a little over, it's probably been about 3 hours. I had to do a couple things and go pick up Deacon from school. Our dough has over doubled in size, which is awesome. Now, here's our little hack. So pretzels and bagels are both usually dunked in a baking soda bath of boiling water and baking soda before you bake them. We're not gonna do that. I'm going to heat up water in my microwave in a bowl, and when I'm ready for the baking soda bath, I'm just gonna dip it in there, swish it all around, and that's my baking soda bath. Depending on how many I make, sometimes I will reheat my water halfway through or so. I shouldn't have to do that because this isn't gonna make as many pretzels as I normally do because we don't have company. Normally when I make a full batch, we have company over. The recipe I'm using has measurements for like the water and the baking soda. I'm not gonna use those measurements because, well, I suck at doing measurements. And it's kind of a weird measurement on there because I only did about a half recipe. It's like 0.17 of a cup or a table, what is it? Yeah, 0.17 of a cup of baking soda to like 2 cups of water. So I'm just gonna put in some baking soda and make sure it kind of foggy. I'll show you that in just a second. The water's heating up right now, and while that's doing that, I'm gonna get these started to roll out. Actually, scratch that. First thing I'm gonna do is get my pan ready, and I'm gonna cook these on 2 different pans because that's what I have. One of them being a stone pan, and they will take longer because that stone pan just takes it long. Everything takes longer to cook on it, and the other one is just like a metal pizza pan because that's what I have. And I am gonna use parchment paper. Which, fun fact, did you know you're supposed to wet parchment paper before you use it? I know, who knew? Perfect little bite-sized nuggets. And then I'll just put these on my baking sheet. The recipe calls for coarse salt. I don't have coarse salt, so I'm just using my regular salt. And we're just gonna sprinkle a little bit on them. I've also used cinnamon sugar and then dipped them in cream cheese. So the oven is almost done preheating to 450. So these will cook for only about 6 to 10 minutes. Mine will probably be closer to that 10 because I'm using this stone pan. Once upon a time, I had a basting brush, but I don't know where it is right now. So, these came out of the oven, and we are going to put delicious butter all over them. The basting brush makes it easier. This method works too. I think the recipe I use says to like roll them in it. I don't got time for that. Then if you have pretzel salt, you can put that on there, or in my case, I'm just gonna do a little more salt on top. And then we have pretzels. These are amazing. So my big kids are gonna be real excited because I actually timed these just right, and they should be home off the school bus in just a minute, so we can get some taste testers if they're up for it.
Yeah.
Easy! You can take a bite. What do you think?
These are good and delicious. You did good, Mom.
Oh, you good?
It is so good.
Well, my biggest critics liked them. With just about all my Learn a New Skill videos, I have made the item or the recipe a couple times, or sometimes just once. But sometimes I get in my own head about my abilities, and I get scared, and I won't try it again because it wasn't perfect the first time. So, having the accountability of these videos makes me try and perfect some of these things, because sometimes you need practice. Thank you for being my accountability partner and holding me to my dates of practicing these skills and doing these skills, because I have enjoyed them and I hope you have too. But that's all I have today, and I will see you on the next video. Bye, guys.